for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Matt Ohayon with you. It's Friday. Welcome to your weekend. It's the Sick Podcast. Let's take care of business. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Energy Transportation Group is a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. We're also brought to you by La Bittt Tibi beer. La Bittt Tibi has launched their new Ultra Lager, a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for those hot summer days that are sadly coming to an end, with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, and 4% alcohol per can. Available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery and dépanneur stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light, ultra refreshing. Looking for the ultimate entertainment experience? Playground has it all. Gaming, poker, fine dining, live music, and DJs, all with unmatched customer service. Why go anywhere else? Just minutes away from downtown Montreal, across the Mercier Bridge. Playground, your top destination for fun. And of course, by sportsbuffshop.com, shop all your sports licensed lifestyle apparel, including hoodies, caps, and tees of your favorite teams from all major leagues at sportsbuffshop.com. Use code SICK10 for 10% off all their items. Okay, so rookie camp kicked off this week. Ivan Demidov played a couple games. Stuff to talk about a couple days before the unofficial beginning of hockey season, which of course is the Canadiens golf tournament. So he is not my usual Friday guest, but we still like him anyway, so we let him on the show. Grant McCagg, how are you?
Whew. You let me on. That's great.
You so graciously agreed to join us today, which I'm very happy about. I don't know if it's on my end or if it's on everyone's end, but got a black screen on your end, so we could hear you perfectly, but we can't see you. So rookie camp off to a flying start. Any highlights from there while we're on the subject? There we are.
Hey, there I am. I was wondering if I was having a blackout there or what. It's funny, my screen says it's fine, but when the screen came up there, it was black. So we went into settings. I'm a boomer, but I'm learning.
That's pretty good. It's pretty. That was pretty. You were pretty quick with it there.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So rookie camp kicks off. Obviously, all the eyes are on Logan Mailloux and on Lane Hudson. Anyone else catch your eye yesterday?
I wasn't at rookie camp, so
okay.
Nobody caught my eye.
Nobody caught your eye, but anyone you're excited to hear about?
Yes. Well, I mean, I'd like to see all of them, really. Adam Engstrom, I'm interested to see how he looks in the rookie camp. I think this is big. This is a big year for Kidney, Farrell, and especially Heineman, because I think Heineman's got to make the team out of camp, or he's going to be waiver eligible, and I'm not sure that he will clear. I'd be afraid that he probably gets snapped up. Now they may, they're probably going to heavily consider him as maybe the 13th forward to start the season if he can win a job, but he's got to do it. So, I don't know. He probably doesn't have to outplay Kapanen and Beck and other guys that may be in the running for a job because they aren't waiver eligible. Kapanen will go back to Timra if he doesn't make the team. Beck go down to the minors. No, you're not. Obviously, it's his first year as a pro, so he's not waiver eligible. But Heineman, I think he needs to step up and prove that he can play at the NHL level this camp, or they may lose him. So I'd like to see him stand out at the rookie camp. I'm kind of glad that they, Kapanen's not at the camp, but Heineman is. That's sort of interesting because Heineman is older, I do believe, than a year older than Kapanen at least. So, but I think they really want to get a solid look at Heineman this year and say, hey, this is your chance to make the team. Let's see what you got, kid. We'll give you the rookie camp. We'll give you some exhibition games, get a really good look at him, and hopefully he steps up and grabs a spot.
I always said about Emil Heineman, one thing sticks out to me, and it's back a couple of years ago. It was the Laval Rocket playoff game. I think it was a play-in game, and they were playing, I believe, maybe it was Albany or it doesn't matter. Utica. It was actually Utica, and they got demolished that game. I think it was 4-0, and two players stuck out to me in that game, which was pretty impressive. In a positive way, they stuck out to me, which is pretty impressive considering it was a 4-0 loss. And one of them was Caden Primo. He played, if it wasn't for him, that game could have been 8-0.
Yeah.
The other person was Emil Heineman, because
Right.
He was just the only really engine on the ice. He was a motor that just didn't stop. And I'd like to see that continue. And I feel like that type of player is really appreciated here. And as long as he brings that motor into training camp and then into the preseason, he does have a solid shot.
Yeah, they could use his size, I think. Like he brings a bit of a power forward game, and there's still a bit of a lack of size with the Canadiens on the wing. And he'd be a nice complement to some of the other pieces that they have. I hope he makes the team. You don't like to see assets lose assets for nothing, especially if a year or two down the road he blossoms and he's a good NHLer, then you lost him, right? So, I think that this is a huge camp for him. But I'm also interested in seeing how Farrell and Kidney look in particular, because they're two kids that I think probably had hoped to have better rookie seasons, especially Farrell, considering how productive he was in college and at Chicago with the Chicago Steel. But both of them, I think, got an awakening as to just how much bigger, stronger, faster pro players are, and that they still needed to, they needed one more really good offseason to gain some strength and to get a little quicker. And I do believe that both of them hopefully had really strong off seasons, and that they both are standouts at the rookie camp, because I think you're going to have to be a standout in these two rookie games to start the season strong in the AHL, because this is a level below the AHL, probably the competition that they're playing up against as a rule, because they're a little younger. So I'd like to see them not necessarily dominate, but stand out in the two rookie games. And if they do, I think it's going to be a confidence boost for them going into main camp, and that hopefully they get off to stronger starts in Laval, because they need a better start. Laval got off to a slow start last year, in large part, I think, because there were so many rookies, and it's such an adjustment for them, and it took them a while. And I do believe that if they get off to a quicker start this year, they'll just build from that, because I think they'll improve all year. They'll have a lot of good young players, but you can't fall out of the playoff race in the first month. It's so competitive that it's tough to climb back in. And they ran out of time last year and didn't make the playoffs. And I'd really like to see them do that this year.
I want to hone in on one of those two guys, and it being the older one, in Sean Farrell. I was at maybe it was his only, maybe he played 2 games, but I was definitely at one of his only NHL games a couple seasons ago. I think it was the last game of the season against the Boston Bruins. And you want a guy like that to succeed, but he was noticeably smaller than everyone else on the ice, noticeably weaker than everyone else on the ice. Would you say, considering this is a rookie camp and, a rookie showcase, but he is 23, he's going to be 23 in November. Would you say that, at least as far as with the Canadiens, this would be maybe his last season to really try to forge a spot in the organization?
I think he's probably got 2 years for that. Just 1 year a pro, even 2 isn't really enough necessarily, especially when you're smaller and you have to get stronger and quicker. It can take 3 years. He's not waiver eligible this year, right? So he's got another year, right? I want to see progression this year, one more good off season, and then come back next year. And that's the year that I think he'll be in the position that Heineman's in this year, right?
Okay.
So no, I think it's 1 more year for him, because I agree with you, that game, it wasn't only the smaller and weaker, but he was chasing the play too. He's an extremely intelligent player, great vision, great shot. So there's some tools there to work with for sure, but he has to get quicker to play at the NHL level. And I hope that he made a step this offseason, because we saw it in college and in junior too. He did improve his skating a bit each year, but it's still 1 more step for the AHL, and then it's yet another step for the NHL. So he's got to be at least an average to above average skater, I think, this year in the NHL or in the AHL, and get a little quicker, and then next year vie for a spot.
Yeah, you look at his stats from college, from from the USHL into the NH or into the AHL rather, and again, it's like you said, it's just progression every time. So I really hope it works out for him, because I remember he was one guy who it was kind of one of those gems that you find late in the draft that could kind of make it a really sweet draft for someone, for the team that gets him. So hopefully it works out for him. And, Riley Kidney too. That was another rookie in Laval last year, like you said, and he needs to, kind of forge a spot. This is the opportunity for these guys. They're going to be the oldest / a part of the older crew at this showcase. So I think it's imperative that they got to stand out at this thing.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So that's with them. Let's move over across the pond, because you watched and prepared some clips for us of Ivan Demidov's last game. That was, I believe, yesterday for SKA. So I'll let you take it away with introing one of the clips.
Okay. We showing the clips, or?
Yeah, we'll have producer Shane pull it up. Here we go.
Okay, thank you, Shane. Yeah, well, you can often learn a lot about a young player's character when they get demoted. And he found himself playing on the 4th line yesterday. The demotion actually came early in the second period of the game before that, when they only saw like 3 more shifts from about halfway point of the game on. So I didn't even know if he was going to play in this game, but he right off the start, and you can see in these clips, he was motoring. I thought he was the most engaged player on SKA in their home opener. Every shift he had his motor running, he was competing. You can see him chasing pucks, going after pucks. He was very aggressive. I thought, and it may have had something to do with him getting rocked in the second game, but I thought he was a little tentative in the next game, and that's part of the reason maybe why he got benched. We did not see any of that in this game. He was tenacious. He took hits when he needed to, didn't try to dish off a puck quick, held on to the puck as long as he had to, and created quite a bit of offense. So I was really, I thought this game was going to tell a lot about his future with the club, because we've seen it before with the young players that come in. Rotenberg has a tendency to kind of railroad them and sit them out, and then eventually move them, either loan them to another KHL team or to send them down to the minors or back to junior. And I was curious as to what would happen. And actually, he had such a strong game that by the third period, he was playing pretty steadily, more than the fourth line role, and he got switched to another line with Valentin Zikov. A lot of fans would remember Montreal passed on him to take McCarron back in the day when he was playing in the queue. But I thought that was their best line in the third period, and he had a lot of good chances. So it was very encouraging to see that he got the ice time. He impressed. He had good chances, and you could see it from the opening shift of the game that he got the message, right? Okay, I have to work a little harder. I love his back check. You've noticed on a couple of the shifts here where he worked hard getting back. But there you see too, right? He steals the puck, brings it back in. He was all over the ice. So I was really impressed. He also had he had a handful of good opportunities in the offensive zone. Didn't score, rang one off the post. We have a clip that will show. The clip is on here, but it's a little far away, and we've got a slow-mo replay that will show after this of just how close he did come to scoring. But he's close. He's come close every game with chances, and his first KHL goal is coming soon. I think it may even happen next game. Well, made a great move there.
Yeah.
But then his shot ended up going off the defenseman. I love that dangle that he made there. He's just so slick with the puck. Looked like he regained some confidence that maybe was lacking in the last game. There's the shot off the post, and we'll show it again later, but had some great chances. I thought he hustled more than any other SKA forward in this game, and it was really encouraging to see him get rewarded. This was at the end of the game, 6-on-5. He got out there for just about the whole 2 minutes, which was, again, encouraging, showing that the coach is saying, okay, we've been shut out the last 2 games. Okay, here it is here. Comes back off, and he just rang it off the post, unfortunately. But anyway, that was it was pretty impressive. I thought he had a really good game. And what do you think of the highlights from what you saw there?
It's the one thing that stuck out to me is what you opened with, and that you could tell a lot about a player, how he responds to getting dropped down in the lineup like that. And it's basically everything you said. He didn't change his game just because he was dropped down the lineup, which was what I really liked. He was still, coming into the draft, you hear so much about this guy's motor and his drive, and how he never gives up on a play, which, is a very big thing in Montreal. Fans will appreciate that above, the talent. And he doesn't even in the KHL, he doesn't take it seems like he doesn't take his lineup spot for granted.
Right. And I mean, a lot of kids, especially high picks like that, will maybe mope a bit when they get demoted like that and think, hey, I shouldn't be demoted. Alex Galchenyuk maybe back in the day would have been a little guilty of that at times when he was put down to a fourth line role. He'd maybe not take it the wrong way. This kid, he reacted just the opposite. He said, okay, I got to work a little harder. And he wasn't great last game. He really wasn't. I know I wrote something about it and I was a little frustrated with the coach, but in all honesty, he didn't have a great game. He was a little tentative the last game, and we saw a completely different player yesterday. He every shift he was working harder than anybody on the ice, and he earned the promotion by the third period and getting lots of ice time. And the message got through, and good for him. Good for Rotenberg rewarding him. I'm a little more optimistic that he's going to stay with SKA and eventually work his way up the lineup. He was still not on the power play, which I think is a mistake. But hey, we saw it with Slavkovsky last year. Even when he was playing well, 20 games in, they still weren't giving him. They weren't giving him the cookies. They weren't giving him. Took it slow with him. Even though Anderson shouldn't have been on the first power play, in those games, they kept Slav on the second unit until he was really, really ready. And then we saw how, just how effective he could be on the power play. And I think it might be a similar situation with Demidov this year.
Yeah. It's, I kind of like that old school treatment of young players because, I find a lot this is across all sports, maybe, that, you have a big issue when the inmates start to run the prison. And I feel like a lot of younger players try to dictate how they should be used. And if they're going to be used in the wrong way, they're going to kind of mope around, stop playing, request a trade, this, that. And I like that he takes to that old school mentality of, okay, you're a star. You can be an important part of this team, but you got to work. You got to work for everything. Nothing is given to you in the KHL, which is the second best league in the world. And certainly nothing's given to you in the NHL, which is the best league in the world.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree 100%. I'm not frozen anymore.
No, we're good.
Took me 60 minutes to tell me to respond to that. But anyway, again, the boomer solved it. So all good.
All good. So more on Demidov, where this is one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't remember is that the KHL, because Demidov is known as I think it's fair that he could definitely score. We know he could do that, but he's more known as a playmaker. So the question is, a lot of people, I'm sure he's going to get criticism at one point because in the KHL, they only do primary assists. They don't do the secondary assist counting there. But what's a way, if not in his point totals, that he could still impress, to people like this game? Is it just keep involved, or how is he really, other than getting results, going to work his way up that lineup?
Well, I think, all the things that he did in that game, he was forechecking, back checking, work ethic, not being afraid to battle in the corner. There were a couple times the previous game where he lost puck battles along the boards. I think that's why he ultimately ended up sitting most of the second half of the game. coaches don't like to see the young guys losing puck battles. It can hurt the team. And he got the message loud and clear, and he battled hard along the boards. He didn't lose. He may have lost one puck battle, but he won more than he lost. Competed, back-checked hard. All the things that I saw last year throughout the junior season, despite him being the best player in the MHL, he worked hard all the time. And I think maybe, and we saw it with Slav a bit, that he ended up maybe reacting more. Should be reacting more than thinking, doing a little bit too much thinking out there and not reacting. And we saw that with him, with Demidov yesterday, where he was just skating, reacting, and it paid off. When you're really, really engaged and not spending so much time standing around thinking, it helps your game so much, because things will go right for you. Things will happen for you. And I think he got that message. Work hard, skate hard every shift, and good things will come.
So his next game is when? As our resident Demidov expert.
Oh, yeah. Good thing I looked that up.
Yeah, I didn't want to catch you off guard, but I had a feeling you
nice try. 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, so his next game is Sunday, so we'll get more footage, and I think it's going to be interesting to see his progression over the season, because I feel like Slavkovsky, when he came into the NHL, there was a lot of expectation, obviously, on a first overall pick, just as there's going to be a lot of expectation on a 5th overall pick. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how, Slavkovsky, there was the rise and then a dip, and then a rise and then a big dip, and then another rise and then a dip. And it wasn't fairly consistent over the season, but it's hard to lose sight that, he was an 18-year-old kid playing in a man's league. It's the same thing happening with Demidov. I think a lot of people are just expecting him to step into this league, being the KHL, and just dominate from the get-go, when, he's going to have some growing pains.
Guilty as charged.
Well, he's going to have some growing pains, right? And I think that's normal. And it's about how he manages those growing pains. And we already saw his first, I guess, dealing with that. And I guess he passed with flying colors on his response.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, I was worried that he might get kind of like what with Michkov last year. By the 3rd or 4th game, he was in the stands. And, it didn't get better from there. And I was worried that we might be seeing the same thing, even though I know Rotenberg really likes Demidov, and it's hard not to, because the kid, good character, and he plays hard. He does. But no, started him on the 4th line. But I'm kind of glad they took him away from Kuznetsov, because I don't know what's going on with him, but he has not looked good so far. He's not working overly hard, and they put him with 2 guys that work hard too. And I think it helped get him away from Kuznetsov, and just give him the message, hey, work hard, and we will reward you. And he did. The second, in the 3rd period, he got a lot of shifts the last 10 minutes, and because he deserved it. I think he was creating more offensive chances than Kuznetsov, and a lot of those guys were. So, hey, wanted to win. They're at home. This kid's given us as good a chance as any to tie this game, so let's get him out there. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the top 6 the next game. Maybe not, but even if he isn't, that's fine. There's no rush, like you say. I think the points will come, because we saw in this game in the highlights there that he set up some nice chances and had a couple of good ones, and he's still getting the chances, so the points will come, I think. I think much like Slafkovsky too, he's gripping his stick a little tight when he gets a chance in close. I mean, there's just that much less time to shoot, and the goalies are that much better than they were at the junior level, and he's just gripping his stick a little tight right now when he does get his scoring chances. But I think once he gets that first one, we'll see the points start to come. I think he'll put up decent point totals this year.
I think the biggest difference, in the situations, obviously, other than being in the NHL, for between Slafkovsky and Demidov, we're talking strictly on their first year of being in a man's league, is that, the Canadiens, obviously, they had a vested interest in Slafkovsky and in his development. Knowing that he is committed to the Montreal Canadiens and that he will be probably coming over here next season, I think they're a little less inclined to just stick out the process with him. And, if he's doing the right things, but it's not coming, well, eventually we need results. So we don't have, I'm sorry, Ivan, but you're going to play down in the lineup until you start scoring more. I don't care that you're doing the right things. I think that's my biggest concern with him over this year, is that maybe they're going to be a little more, not apprehensive. I don't know if apprehensive is the right word, but I feel like the opportunities will come a little more few and far in between for him over there.
Well, their biggest scorer last year had 22 goals. They've been shut out their last 2 games, so he's. I don't see them
just
not
what the doctor ordered.
They need him.
Yeah, it's just what the doctor ordered for them.
Well, he's. I think he's the most skilled player they got on their team. So you get shut out 2 straight games. Don't see him being low in the lineup. I think it's the opposite, because they got to start winning, and he's going to help them win. He's going to score goals for them. So, yeah, I think just sort of the opposite as far as wanting to win hockey games. He's going to help them. He's going to help them score. And that's not going to be not being on the power play and playing on the fourth line. It's going to be getting with good players and producing some offense. So that's why the main reason why I think he'll be in the top 6 next game, because I think he was their best forward yesterday, created their most chances, and they've been shut out the last 2 games. So, I don't think Rotenberg's that dumb. He'll, best player, fourth line. We haven't scored 2 games. Maybe I should try him on the power play in the top 2 lines. I think he's got the faculties. He's got the brain power to piece that together. So hopefully he does. But what has concerned me in the past with Rotenberg, and I wrote about it, was high draft picks in the past that are on their last year of their contract that they know are heading over to Montreal, typically get the railroaded. I don't know if that's the right word, but they end up sitting in the stands, not getting a lot of ice time, getting loaned out to other teams like Michkov and Kusnutina. That guy.
Well, yeah,
Merritt, we'll call him.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's with Minnesota. Kusnutinov, I think it is. The 2 of them got loaned out to Sochi last year. And I mean, Michkov was almost a point per game player the year before. And then he, Kusnutinov had 41 points the season before and was top 5 in SKA scoring. And he started the year, he sat out 9 of their first 15 games and played less than 10 minutes a game. From being the 5th highest scorer on the team, and this is in his last contract year, right? He didn't renew his contract. He wasn't coming back. So do they penalize those guys? Is Demidov going to be penalized? And that's what I was worrying about when we saw what happened in the last game where he sat in the bench the second half, and I kind of thought he might even be in the stands for this game yesterday. So for me, it was encouraging that the opposite sort of happened, but he fully deserves to be playing regularly. The kid's just got it all, including the work ethic and character. So I think he's going to play all year with them, and I think he'll impress.
And that's why he was on the top line for your Montreal Canadiens U-25 depth chart. Producer Shane, if we could pull that up. That's why he's the top left winger there. As you can see, take a good look, everyone. Producer Shane, leave it up there for a little bit. So, you know, when I read your prompt on the Habs, I read a couple of others just before heading on air. A couple other teams, because this was a full rankings over at thesickpodcast.com. This is 8 to number 1. And spoiler alert, Montreal's number 1 on Grant's list of U-25 depth charts in the NHL. So the first thing I noticed when I looked at this was it's obviously the thing that sticks out to me is the defense. I think the Canadiens are loaded on defense. And this is just U-25. This doesn't include Michael Matheson, David Savard, who probably won't be here very much longer, but it doesn't include those players. And still, I think it's fair to say that those first 7, so it would be the top 6 there, and then Jaden Struble, that could be the defense of the future for the Montreal Canadiens, and mix in a couple veterans here and there. But those 7 players are, I think it's fair to say, they all have their fair chance at becoming regular to good NHLers. The thing that also stuck out to me, and I want your reaction to this, is forwards other than the top 6 with we'll throw in Newhook in there because he showed some good things last year, leave a little to be desired. I think they're still a little thin on the forward side of things when it comes to the prospect cupboard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think Kapanen, Waugh, and Newhook all have top 6 upside. Mm-hmm. And this is their third line on the U-25 depth chart. This isn't the Canadiens depth chart.
Right,
this is
right.
under 25. So, I think the opposite. Like Joshua has all of the upside to be a second line NHL player, but on this U-25 depth chart, he's third line. And Kapanen as well. I absolutely love Kapanen. And Beck, you could easily flip those two guys. I think Beck and Kapanen both have the upside to be not only good third line, top 3 NHL centers, but very good. Like top 3 centers on championship teams. And they've got 2 of them in Beck and Kapanen. Newhook, like that right there, like it's a U-25 depth chart, and he's on the 3rd unit. Yet he's going to be, I think, on the second line. Him or Waugh will be on the second line in Montreal this year, and whichever one of those 2 ends up being on the second line with Line A and Doc, presumably, has a good chance to 50+ points. So if you've got a guy on your U-25 depth chart going into the year that could very well score 50+ points in the NHL this year, I think that's damn good depth. And Philip Machar is a top 30 pick, 4th unit in the U-25 depth chart. So no, I think Tuck's an NHLer all day. He can be a 4th liner. Same with Jacky. So no, I think that the forward depth is deep, and that there's high quality there. In fact, maybe even more so than the defense. But also Engstrom there, we've got listed as the fifth defenseman on the left. He's got NHL upside all day. I think he can play in the NHL. William Trudeau, on a lot of in a lot of organizations, would be pushing for a spot this year, I think. So I do agree that that the defense looks strong and is good, but I really do like the both the quality and the depth of the forwards.
The reason why I pick on the forwards is I just find it's just because of past years, and the just the lack of success
Over
that the Canadians over expectations and lack of success that a lot of NHL prospects within the Canadiens organization have had. So I guess that's where my apprehension comes from, because I think it's fair to call Juraj Slafkovsky, and all day, I mean, you'd expect the progression from him this year. He had 50 points last year. He's going to progress. He's going to be great. And then, it's kind of after you leave that range of 1 to 10 where you were selected in the draft, then it kind of gets really not automatic. I love the potential with Michael Hage. I think he'll be an NHLer. I think he needs to put on some size, but I mean, hey, he's 18. Who doesn't need to put on size at 18? But other than that, after, when you get out of the first round prestige or the first round premium, whatever you want to call it, I think it's at that point, it's, you got to show me. And, I want to see it. I want to see it sooner rather than later. If we're going to talk a big game about some of these guys, that's just the way I see it.
Well, I mean, the first 7 players on the depth chart were all top 21 picks. Mm-hmm. The Canadiens haven't had that for 30 years. So off the bat, the pedigree is there.
Yeah.
And we've got a top 30 pick on the 4th unit, 33rd overall pick on the 4th unit. So the high picks, the quality draft picks are there. And then you have guys that have, I think, exceeded expectations, like Kapanen and Roy. Like Joshua Roy, his success at the Q level and in the World Juniors, like Montreal a decade ago didn't have any. He'd be on the if this was a depth chart 10 years ago, he'd be on the first unit. He might be the top most promising prospect in the organization, but no, he's not. There's 7 guys ahead of him that were all picked top 21 in the draft. How many Habs prospects 10 years ago, when you did a depth chart, were top 21 picks at forward? McCarron wasn't. None. You'd have none. Maybe one. Like the Canadiens had a 10-year period there where they were picking. They didn't have a first round pick, or they were picking 25th or 26th, or Sherback, McCarron, Juleson, Tenorti. They were all picked outside of, they weren't top 20 picks, right? Mm-hmm. Beaulieu was the highest draft pick for a while in the organization, depth-wise, at 17th overall. Well, there's 6 guys that were picked top 16, right?
Well, I guess
that are all under 25. So it's deep. It's got potential. Kirby Dach's the 3rd overall pick, and he's on the 2nd unit here. So I think the forward group right now is it might be the best. It might be the deepest it's ever been. And I compared it, and this was 2 or 3 months back with Shane. I compared it to the 70s. Any year, it didn't matter. Their top 25 depth, under 25 depth, was never that deep, even in the Sam Pollock era, where you had prospects as promising as Roy and Newhook on the 3rd, in the 3rd tier in the depth chart. So I think 2 or 3 years down the road, the Canadiens are just it looks so promising to me. I think they're going to be at the top of the NHL, and they'll be playoff contenders, major ones.
See, what I want to see is, because you have your nucleus. This is what Stu and I talk about this quite frequently. You have your nucleus. So your nucleus is who?
Shane, take that down.
Yeah. It's Nick Suzuki. It's Cole Caulfield. It's Juraj Slafkovsky. probably Ivan Demidov, but we'll just leave him out just because of who's there currently. We're going to talk. Then on the back end.
Sorry, did you name Caulfield?
Yes.
Okay.
Then on your back end, it's going to be Caden Gooley and Lane Hudson. We could also, it remains to be seen on Lane Hudson. But then you have four.
I think Reinbacher is your nucleus. Reinbacher's a top 5 pick. He's in your nucleus.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's 5 players right there. After that, what you want to build, in my opinion, is you want to go after the Tampa Bay model, the Chicago model, the LA model, the teams that have won multiple, or the Pittsburgh model as well, which is the teams that have won multiple Stanley Cups in succession, or a year removed from each other. And the way to do that is you have your nucleus. Now, obviously, Pittsburgh had Sidney Crosby, but so it's a generational talent. But the point of that is that you want to have that nucleus, and then the rest can recycle. You're going to have your players like Andrew Ladd, who was a big part of the first Stanley Cup in Chicago, but then he became amazing. Sorry, we're paying our other players. No room for you. Okay, next man up, Alex DeBrincat. Great. You were a part of a Stanley Cup winning team, but now we got no room for you. Next man up, and just keep rotating like that. That's what I want to see the Canadiens build, which is why I said that the forward prospect pool, it could use a little more juice to it, especially considering what the defense has.
I think there's the juice is overflowing.
Okay. Overflowing? Yeah. Okay.
Luke Tuck and Flo Jackeye are consummate fourth line players down the road on a cup contender. And their fourth or fifth line there just under with the U-25 guys. That's not including Gallagher. That's not including Anderson. That's not including Line A, who I think actually can be part of that nucleus that you're talking about. Second overall pick, 35 goal scorer his whole career. I wouldn't be surprised if he resigns with the Habs and he's a 40-goal guy the next few years, because he's got a heck of a talented group of guys like that. Top 6 over the next, especially when Demidov comes in, top of the NHL skill-wise. So I'm excited about the future. I don't think they even they could trade their draft picks over the next 3 years and be fine. They're that stocked, I think.
It's a big declaration. Well, we're going to see that. We're going to see the fruits of what they have currently, or some of the fruits that they have in the cupboard currently this weekend. Then we're going to see it's like I said, it happens fast, Grant. It happens fast. The unofficial start to the NHL season is next week when the golf tournament kicks off. And then before you know it, it's going to be the middle of December. It's going to be minus 35 outside, and we're going to be in the thick of the NHL season before you know it.
Well, being my scouting background, for me, the official start of the NHL season is the rookie tournament this weekend.
There you go. So
not a golf tournament, rookie tournament.
A hockey tournament. A hockey tournament.
Exactly.
Yeah. Grant, thank you very much for joining me and for all your insights, and we'll talk soon.
Appreciate you having me on.
That's Grant McCagg. I'm Matt Ohayon. Just a quick note for you. I will be off the next 2 Fridays because I'm at a music festival. Then I'm at my best friend's bachelor party. So I'll be back in the month of October to talk to you. But in the meantime, don't worry. Tony's got your back. You'd rather listen to him than listen to me anyways. He could do it in both languages. I can only do it in one. Have a great weekend, everyone.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaBita.tb. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.